Hey, I'm Chris Peters, and this is my multimodal presentation for working as a 21st century education professional. In this presentation, I'll be addressing what I've learned so far about working as a 21st century professional and address key aspects which I've learnt and applied to my current work context. However, first a little bit about me. I graduated from Sturt University June 2013 with a double degree in Education and Arts with a quadruple major of English, Physical Education, Middle Schooling and Secondary Schooling. Whilst I was studying, I was working full-time for the South Australian National Football League as the umpiring recruitment officer. Once I graduated, I was offered a job at Cabra Dominican College here in Adelaide. For the duration of 2014, I taught a wide variety of subjects including English, PE, health, religion and computing, over a variety of year levels from year 6 to 10. In term 4, I went on a military deployment to Malaysia, training in jungle and urban warfare fighting. When I returned to Australia, Cabra gave me another term contract, and since my contract expired in term 2, I've been working as a temporary relief teacher, or known as a TRT, along with other short-term contracts ranging from special education, geography, and even a little bit of Italian. Buongiorno! In my spare time, I'm also a field umpire for the SNFL and officiate league and reserve state level matches. As I mentioned, I'm also part of the Army Reserve and at the rank of Lance Corporal. I have a passion for travelling and I've travelled all around Europe, most of the Pacific Islands, Southeast Asia, and I've even climbed up to Mount Everest Base Camp. Currently, I'm studying part-time at Sturt University. I've chosen to start study this year because I've identified my passion for administration and management of school-based activities. Still being considered a junior teacher, I believe that now is the ideal time to begin my postgraduate study, before I start a family and my already limited time is taken up. Over the semester, I've had to adapt to distance education, as I still work in a variety of schools during the day and have much of my non-school time taken up by army and umpiring. Distance education seems the ideal choice. Therefore, coming into a new environment, I've had to learn how to use Interact 2, University Reflective Practice, reading and note-taking, including the APA referencing, finding information, resources through the CSU Digital Library, and then evaluating all of this information and have put it towards my postgraduate learning. Personally, I'm glad that I've chosen to start studying now, as I've still retained many of my undergraduate study habits and can apply them to this course. Over the first few weeks of the semester, we have asked the question, what is it to be a 21st century education professional? To me, to be an education professional, you need to have a very important quality: to self-reflect. This is what I've based my annotated bibliography on. An effective educational leader needs to be able to learn from their experience and solve dilemmas as they arise. This brings me to several salient issues and interests I've developed over the course of this semester. Let's start with looking at learning through reflection. Guthrie and Jones 2012, using experiential learning and reflection for leadership education, state the primary way to learn leadership is through experience. Thus, experiential learning theory provides a solid foundation for leadership education, as well as framework for developing and implementing programs for students to reach their full leadership capacity. I've chosen to place this in my annotated bibliography, as it has a direct relation to my current position and work context. Guthrie and Jones continues to suggest that experience does not qualify an individual completely and requires reflection in order to learn and recognise an effective solution to issues arising. This follows Kolb's cycle of learning, where there is a concrete experience, followed by an abstract conceptualization, then reflected observation, and finally, active experimentation. This method of learning can take place either through direct educational encounters or via everyday life events. As said by Guthrie and Jones, taking both intentional and accidental experiences into consideration, it is important to think about how we, as educators, include meaning, make opportunities into both programs of our daily interactions with students. This, to me, challenges effective teachers and leaders to reflect on what their experiences are in order to develop a deeper understanding. A second interest I had arose from my annotated bibliography was Linda Cates Wayman's TED Talk, How to Fix a Broken School. I strongly urge you to watch it, as it provided me key steps to the approaches to tackling a difficult school. She stated, "My first slogan is, if you're going to lead, lead. I always believe that what happens in a school and what does not happen in a school is up to the principal. I am the principal, and having that title required me to lead." This related to her own experience in tackling a persistently dangerous school located in the United States, and turning it from an institution where the students and staff were scared of going there, into a place of learning, into a school. This is a truly inspirational video, and I highly recommend that you take some time and have a look at it. My final interest that I came across was rural education. As I said, I currently teach in a metropolitan school. It is great. I feel supported and supplied with all the resources I need to teach. And if I don't have a resource, I can just look in a few shops in the city and bring it to class the next day. However, when I went to school, I went to a variety of different rural schools. My first school ever was Coober Pedy Area School when I was reception, which is an entire day and a bit drive from Adelaide, right there on the map. While I was only in year 1, I knew that the town was isolated, and going down to Adelaide was often seen as an exciting holiday. Possibly because of my own experience of rural education, I found a conference report by Wallace and Boylan from 2007, which addressed the issues of education policy and practice in rural Australia. I often found it particularly interesting that when the authors stated that rural education should be looked at through a rural lens, as often the educational settings when compared to metropolitan schools are vastly different. The limited access to goods and the services, the high teacher turnover, and also the mindset of teachers who feel personally, professionally and socially isolated when teaching in these areas. This is a fascinating idea, one which I hope to gain experience over in the coming years. All of these topics I found I could relate to my current practice as an educational professional in the 21st century. I thoroughly enjoyed working through these readings as part of my annotated bibliography. Naturally, a modern day professional not only has a good understanding of these topics, but also has a good understanding and use of technology. As we live in a world of constant change, full of tech, gadgets and devices, it only seemed fitting that I display my multimodal through a self-created video. By now you would have had a look at through some of my other academic work and reflections. What did you think? I'd be curious to know your thoughts. Or did you get tied up? I've placed direct links to all the sources that I've mentioned in this multimodal below, but also check out my other posts, my annotated bibliography, reflective blog and reflective post. That's better. Naturally, like all good videos, I'm going to leave you with a short study montage of my journey, just for a bit of a laugh. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.